Hello friend, happy Monday night, my fireside chat version of my daily video. I'm Pat Sloan. So if you have the calendar and you watched on Saturday and you checked the calendar, which a few of you did, then you were like, where is the organize? Where is the organize? So, well, let me tell you how this happens, because I take this and then I build myself a video outline of what I'm going to talk about so I don't forget things. And somehow I put a note on there, and then when I got to the point where I actually did the video, the note to me meant something else. And so I talked about the book nook, and it was just something I had on my mind to create a project from the book. And I forgot to do the organize. So today we'll have two topics, two, so that you organize people have your organizing topic. Plus, it's a good one anyways. So, but first, the daily topic that's on the calendar is to show your baby quilts, right? Let me just double check that. Yes, quilts for babies. I want to see baby quilts, because often one of the first quilts anybody makes is for a baby. But you can show your favorite baby quilt you ever made, your newest one, the very first one, whatever. Baby quilts are just precious, and they're fast because they don't have to be very big. It's like you can make little tiny ones for little babies. Okay, so what about organize? The first organized topic for the month is to get your binding in order. So your bindings for your quilts. Now, a lot of us like to save. So here, I'm going to show you a quilt then. But this is a strip of extra binding. This is my Morrison Park fabric, and I was binding one of the quilts that's a kit that's coming out, and so I have this strip that's extra. So first of all, who saves those? You know, a lot of you cut your bindings 2.5 inches wide, and so some of you will take this strip, if it's 2.5 inches wide, and you will either put it with your 2.5 inch strips, long strips that you save for your scrap system, or you might cut it into 2.5 inch squares. Well, because I cut 1.5 inch, because I do single binding, and there was a video I did a few days back, a week or so ago about that. I don't, always do double binding. So mine are a little skinnier, so they're really not a scrap system. So what I do is a couple things. First, if the project belongs to something, the binding isn't done yet. I cut the binding, did this. One way I have to organize it is until the quilt is actually quilted, I need to keep everything together. So in here I have the binding. This is the quilt that's been sent to be quilted. I have extra fabric for, this is going to be the label, which is just, I'll tell you about that. A horrible little block I did that was, my skills were so poor. So I'm going to keep it for the label. And then I have some of my fabric to do the sleeve. Although usually there's extra hangover. But anyways, we're on binding. So this is where I put the binding, in the bag. The other thing is these leftover bindings that are, to be used at some point. And I can tell you that a couple times I've saved bags of these and then just gotten rid of them. But I'm going to try to use them now. So I took a box that I had for a project. This is one of the really cute project boxes. We get a lot of things in project boxes. So it's got a little magnet, lifts up. And in here, I have all of the different bindings. I kind of put them by color. So this, because this is extra, this will go in here in the green section. Oh, it's like stuff down below. So this actually has gotten a little bit tight. So I have another box that I started. But one of the things is I'm going to look at this and do my rainbow quilt. So I have yet to bind my rainbow quilt. And so that I'm going to do a scrappy binding, and I'm going to try to get it to match up as I go and change the rainbow colors. So this will be key, this particular box. Yes. So that is double topic today. Get your bindings in order, however you manage them. All right, so Morrison Park Tour Day number 8. This is number 8 day. I hope you're having an an amazing time. And if you've missed a few people, every day when I put the post out, I list all the other stops. You can go back and see what everybody's been doing with my Morrison Park fabric. Today is my good buddy, Heather Valentine from the Sewing Loft. And Heather runs an amazing website where she does a lot of tutorials. She's also another Babylock ambassador friend, but I've known Heather from before that, a very long time. And we just love chatting about, getting things for our websites, and we were sort of, got involved with talking business stuff first, but now we're friends after that. But she did a wonderful, wonderful quilt, and it's so, so cool. It uses a lot of the reds from the line of Morrison Park. So I can't wait for you to go and see that and go over and visit her and follow her, because you will get a lot of really great tips. She does really cool projects. So let's stay on Morrison Park, because I want to show you there are some kits coming up that are made with my fabric. And so this one is a very nice, light and airy. That's what I love about it. So it is, I wanted to keep everything very, very clean and pretty and use stars. Look at this. So here it is. I'll pick it up. So this is one of the kits that'll be coming out. They're being cut, so when they're ready, I'll tell you. So here we go. And there'll be a link below. You can use all my links below, and they all help support my small family business. They help support Greg and I. So here's the green. Here's the green that I used, and I used that all up. So there is one of the Morrison Park. And a couple people asked me, like, why did I call it Morrison Park? So let me tell you that before I show you something else with Morrison Park on it. So my fabric lines with Benartex, I decided to create everything around sort of that small town that we all love, like the one that we like this would be the best small town. Of course, it would be filled with quilters, and it would have a little town square with a gazebo in it, and it would have beautiful streets. So, with neighbors and friends who would come over and have tea, and their kids would play together, and there'd be, festivals and parades, just the idyllic, small town. And filled with quilters, of course. So my first fabric line was called Bonnie Lane, and with Benartex, and it was named for my mom. But also that would be Bonnie Lane would be one of the wonderful streets in this small town. And the town has to have a park, and so that's what Morrison Park is. Morrison Park would be at the end of one of the streets. There would be a playground and a pool and picnic gazebos. Going on a picnic, remember that? So there you go. That is how I came up with the name. I wanted to name each line will have something that has to do with a small town and what we do in them and how we love them so much. So Morrison Park is in the stores now, linked below. You can ask your favorite shop, or I've linked you over to the Fat Quarter shop which has it now. So, and they're doing the kits. There'll be 2 quilts with kits. That was one of them. And tomorrow I'll show you the other one. Now I've already got Morrison Park running into my projects, getting into my projects. So if you didn't see here, I'll show, wait a second. It's heavy. Okay, so I have a project bin. Oh, let me show. So I have a project bin for the Socialites, and I put a little, there's a little sticker on there, which I got these stickers. I'll link you up down below. I linked you before, but if you still want to pick up some of these are chalk stickers. Look how cool those are. So I can put the name of the project on that's in this bin, which is going to be so helpful. Some of mine are just finishing, so I've only done a couple of the bins, and I'm super excited. Okay, here's my ice cream for the social. I always think of it as like a social, okay, come up here a second. When I hear Socialite, I think of an ice cream social, what is that? I mean, an ice cream social, but that's what I think of. And I found this, and so all my pictures for the Socialites will have my little ice cream with it, because I think like an ice cream social when I hear that. Are there other kinds of socials? They're like a tea party, I guess, but with ice cream. I don't know. So I I have 2 blocks from the Socialites done with Morrison Park, and the background is from my line. This light color is from my line, and so I've got the pink and the blue. So I can't wait to do this week's block. I forget what color it is, but I haven't done it yet, but I'm excited to do them once a week. They're really fun. Some of them are going to be a little bit more challenging, but you're up for it, right? You can do it. So what else did I do? Past couple of, well, yesterday, no, the weekend, over the weekend, I did a bunch of trying to move projects forward, like the Spools and the Out West and the Snowflake, which I didn't quite get to, and going on a picnic. I wanted to get them all to the point, I'm trying to get them all to the point where they're tops. So, guess what I have? The Spools. You know, I still can't, my wrists and my fingers ache. And so, and they're stiff. This left hand is still very stiff, and the wrists are stiff, and twisting, manipulating is difficult. So I only can go so much in the day, and then I pretty much wear them out. They just sort of ache, and I need to rest them. So getting as much as I did on the weekend, I thought I did quite a good job. I did a lot more than I've done in a long time. Not normal, but a lot more. So here we go. Let's pull up. Everybody remind me to pull my chair back before I sit down too. I keep fearing that I'll forget to pull it back. Okay, so irrational fears, right? So here is the Spools. Ta-da! And I put the Morrison Park, the floral. This is the main floral done in the light blue, done on white, basically. It's done on dark and it's done on white. And so here it is. And I decided to use the stripe in here from Morrison Park as well. Rather, I debated whether to put the pink stripe in there, and I just decided that it just needed to feel calm. I wanted this whole thing to feel calm, and I wanted it to feel light, which is why I used this. Now, a few people suggested that, okay, well, first let me ask you this. When I hold this up, what kind of color does this read? Does it have a bit of more of a blue feel than any other color? Like, is that, when you look at this, like you would call this maybe a blue quilt, because the blue spools sort of pop out because it has a blue border. That's what a border does for you. There was a couple of people who said that they rarely put a border on, which is cool. But when you're deciding on your border color, one of the things I like to focus on is what color do you want the end quilt to appear like? What do you want it to feel like? If your border fabric is primarily reading one color, when you put it on, your quilt will kind of pop at people immediately and say a blue quilt, a red quilt, a green quilt, an orange quilt. So a few people said, oh, you should put orange border on it. If I did that, it would read an orange quilt. It would look like an orange quilt. And I don't want an orange quilt. I wanted something that felt like Americana, but in a light way. So I feel like I did exactly what I was hoping for with this. So I'm super, super excited. And then, do you remember? I'm like so excited. I just might have to send this right to the spa. The spa already has a bunch of my stuff too. The spa is very busy with my stuff. Do you remember when I was talking about the crazy quilts and I showed you making a crazy quilt block or a crumb block? However, this is a few videos back. Here I used the fabrics from the Spools to do that example, and then I just put a little bit of the cream around the edges that's in the background of the Spools. Yeah, here I just sort of throw that over there. But see, there's the cream fabric. And I will write the information on here, and this will be the label. So for those of you who miss sort of seeing the Spools, whoops, let me just give you up close of the Spools. There's some. Yes, I had so much fun with these, just so much fun. I can't tell you, like this one took a little longer after the first to get finished, because when we were doing the one a month, I was pretty much finishing them right at the end of the month, like the rainbow and, you know, the stars for the scrappy stars and the stay home quilt, you know, all of those, I got them done. And speaking of the stars, over in the, here, I'll bring my chair back. So over on the table there, can you see it? That is the Little Wishes Stars. It's quilted from the spa, but it's sort of down on the list. I have some other things that needed binding first. So later this week, even if the binding's not done, I will put that up on the wall so you can see it. So that's my little Morrison Park frenzy. I'm so excited the fabric is finally out so that you can get it. And I hope some of you are going to do the Socialite in it so you can order your fabric. And the links are below. I have to keep saying that because sometimes you get like, where is it? Or at my website. You know, on Mondays I always have a website article to go along with this video, so everything is there too, so you can see it. And I'll have a picture of the spools there, so that's links below. So if you want to go see the spools, the whole thing, took a picture outside with it. Now on Mondays we are working on our layer cake quilts, and so today is the last weeks for the layer cake quilt. And this is the birthday quilt from the Perfect 10 book, and I meant to get the book and bring it over. Did I get it? Is that here? Yeah, so, oh, that's the Perfect 5 book. Oh, that's the Perfect 5 book. I don't know where the Perfect 10 book is. So we'll just look at the quilt. Sometimes I think I'm going to be organized, and what happens? So we are doing the bottom 2 rows. Now I added an extra row, so if you don't have an extra row and you did 2 rows last week, then you're done. You're ready to put a border on or not put a border on, because the book doesn't actually have borders on those quilts. They leave it up to you to decide. And I love the fabric that I use for the border. Just loved it. This quilt was mandatory to have a border so that I could use that fabric. Look at that. So this is another one that needs to get binding pretty soon because I want to hang it in my living room. I want to change out the living room soon so that I can have October and November as my fall things in there. Now speaking of fall, yesterday, you know, we are not, because of the COVID-19, Greg and I are being very conservative, and we are not going out very much. We're just doing the very basics and just seeing my dad and his wife. So those are the only kind of people besides the neighbors we see outside here, you know, and my girlfriends that might come and pick something up, and I talk to them from their car door, you know. We're just being super conservative. I cannot afford to be sick. I've already had a massive injury this year. I do not need anything else on top of that. So, saying that, we went to see my dad and Karen, and we went and stopped at the pumpkin patch and took over some pumpkins for their porch. So that was a lot of fun. The pumpkin patch is actually in the plaza where I go to get my coffee and where our grocery store is, and the restaurants we usually eat at. This is within walking distance of my house. That's why I always feel like I'm in the city, because literally in 5 minutes I can be at my plaza. And they do this little pop-up garden center, and then in the fall they do the flowers, like that's where I'll get my pansies from, and the pumpkins. And then they do 4th of July, they do fireworks, and of course they do Christmas trees in December. So I love this little pop-up that it's there and I can walk to it and go to see the beautiful things, you know, like, oh, it's so nice. So we got pumpkins yesterday, and that means I'm really feeling like it's fall now. You know, we did a little barbecue outside. We sat on the deck. It was a little chilly, but we did it anyways because it's just easier and more safe to be outside. You know, my dad is 82, so it's like, you know, you gotta be very careful, folks. So that is how I'm segueing to fall, because this thing really, I want it done, and Greg will have to help me hang this stuff, but you know, that's okay. He's been really wonderful. You know, he's hung this thing up on the design wall every Sunday so that I could talk about it. It's like, anything big he has to hang up because I don't have any strength yet. There's just no strength. So speaking, like think of this. Like the other day, it was very exciting because, you know, the Wonder Clips, right? These little Wonder Clips. Like I couldn't do that, and now I can. So you know, but pick up a Wonder Clip and imagine that you can't even pinch it open. You know, that only happened a couple of days ago for me, that I was able to start pinching those open. So it's coming back. Okay, I had a great tip that was, I think, I don't know where she wrote this to me. You guys write to me everywhere. So Cindy sent in a great tip, and I thought that being an organizing day, sort of, this is a great tip. She said that she likes to use vacuum bags for extra batting. You know, batting's pretty fluffy, and when you buy it, you know, already packaged, you know, they've really rolled it tight at the manufacturer. So once we open it, it's like, you know, it's like doubles in size. You know, it's like you can't get it back in there. So I thought that was a fabulous idea, because a lot of us will have big pieces of extra batting when you've cut it off, and you'll just, you know, use them for smaller projects or layer them up to make a bigger piece for another project. And so vacuum bags is how she keeps them, and plus she noted it keeps the dust off, which is really true. You know, that it's not going to get, you know, they're going to keep clean if you keep them in a vacuum bag. So I may have to get some vacuum bags. How many of you uses vacuum bags? It's not something I normally think of, so I need to investigate that vacuum bag stuff, see what I can find. Also, wanted to remind you or tell you again about the light, because several people wrote me and said that they had gotten the lights and they absolutely love them. And so I wanted you to see them again. These can go on your neck, and when you're stitching, when you are reading, when I use it sometimes at the sewing machine, even if it's a little, you know, dim out, but they have, there you go, see the light, and it has 3 different intensities. And then there's also, there's also a button here at the top, and that will change its color. So see, there we go. So it has 3 layers of color too. So warm and you know, pure white. This is just fantastic. So you can get, I think the Fat Quarter Shop, if you're ordering from there and you know you're doing a bunch of stuff, they have some, so I'll link you to there, and then at Amazon. I'm not sure what colors they have at the Fat Quarter Shop, but the pink one you can definitely get on Amazon because it's pink, you know. And also I am buying these for Christmas presents for people. Don't tell them. I have a whole group of, everybody's getting one of these for Christmas because they are just so useful. And because you can do one light at a time, you're not going to blind anybody that you're sitting with. Believe me, the other person who lives in this house is very aware. He likes to sit in the dark. And so, you know, sometimes we sit in dimmer lighting when we're relaxing, and I need better lighting in order to read or when I can start cross-stitching again. So that is what the light is for. The lamp is for, mostly, which I think is great. All right, my friend, I love Monday nights where more of us get to chat in the chat room before the show and during the time that this is running for the very first time. All the links are below. Remember to come visit my website and also come over to the quilt group, Quilt Along with Pat Sloan. I love you. Mwah. See you online.